With keys, and hello again, those from the historic dockyard. My name's Mark. It's my pleasure to be your captain for our harbour cruise this morning. And during the trip, we've got quite a lot of children on board. The children must stay with an adult, please, at all times. Mustn't run around the ship, stand on the seats or the side rails for their own safety. And during the cruise, if you like tea, coffee, something a little stronger, we have 4 bar facilities down in the lower saloon. We've got plenty of ice if you're a bit hot. So just look out for the crew. They will. We've only got a few on board today. We've only got about a quarter of our capacity. So the crew will provide you with a waiter's service. They will walk around the vessel so you don't miss anything. There's quite a lot to see today. Now don't worry if you do miss something as we go around, because I do tend to double up on the commentary, and we have to come back the same way. At least associated with return tickets will. Let's start by looking over on the right hand side. You can see the Warrior, first of the ironclad battleships, laid down in the Victoria dock in London at 9,210 tons. 9,210 tons. It revolutionised the Victorian fleet. Right, I think it was a bit low in the lower saloon, so I think we're all right now. Right, flying from the mast of the after end of the Warrior there, you can see a red ensign. That's unusual, because the Royal Navy's flag is the white ensign. But in the olden days, the Royal Navy was divided into 3 fleets. The Red Fleet, the Blue Fleet and the White Fleet. Warrior at the time, flagship of the Red Fleet, so it deems she shall fly the red ensign to this day. Right, we're backing out into the main harbour. And during our cruise, you're likely to see a number of police boats. Now, the police boats enforce the security cordon around Her Majesty's ships, as you'll appreciate in these days of security. Got to be a little bit careful. And on the police boats, there's 3 armed Ministry of Defence police. They're all armed with machine guns. But if you give them a friendly wave, I'm sure we can get a little bit closer than we should do. But if you do wave to them, like I say, be aware they're all armed with machine guns, so please use all the fingers on your hands. Make our way into the dockyard. Coming up on the right, there's a white tower. The left-hand end of the red brick building. This is the semaphore tower. And from the semaphore tower, the Queen's Harbour Master Portsmouth controls all shipping movements around this very busy port. All controlled by VHF radio, radar and closed-circuit television. Portsmouth, the busiest ferry port in the United Kingdom, counting the Isle of Wight ferries, over 400 movements every day during the busy summer months. The jetty on the right, this is the South Railway jetty. For many years, this was the home of Her Majesty's yacht, the Royal Yacht Britannia. Of course, the Royal Yacht Britannia is now in retirement up in Leith, up in Scotland, but she was based here for 33 years. Right, coming up on the right, you'll see the King's Stairs jetty. This is the buff-coloured brick building here, the King's Stairs jetty. To the right of the King's Stairs jetty, there's a set of steps down into the water. On April the 19th, 1956, a Royal Naval diver by the name of Commander Buster Crabbe put on his diving gear. He walked down those steps just over on the right there, entered the water, was never seen again. At the time, we had 3 Russian cruisers in the port. On one of the Russian cruisers was the President of Russia, President Khrushchev. It led to a diplomatic incident. Some say this was the start of the Cold War. We're trying to find out more details, but details will not be released until 2056. They put a 100-year ban on it, so it's quite a, well, touchy subject at the time. There's the Victory on the right, Lord Nelson's flagship of the Battle of Trafalgar, laid down in Chatham in Kent in 1763. Built as a first-rate, 3-decked, 105 gunship of the line. She's in number 2 dry dock, where she's been since 1922. Opened the public in 1928. Good view of Victory there because there's no ship on the quay there, so good view of Victory, look, if you've got a camera. And you see that red brick building with the nicely tiled roof? Get that in the picture as well with Victory in the background, and that'll take pride of place on the mantelpiece when you get home. Especially when I tell you what it is. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the brand new Admiralty toilet block. Right, D34 on the right. Let's get serious now. Look, D34 on the right. This is HMS Diamond. Now, this is a Daring class destroyer. The Daring class destroyers, of which we have 6, are the largest surface combatants the Royal Navy's had since World War II. 7,350 tons. It has a Mark 9 at 4.5 inch gun forwards. In that square box there's 16 Astra 15 missiles and 32 Astra 30 missiles. There's 4 tubes forward of the bridge, there's usually 8 of them, but these are the McDonnell Douglas Harpoon missiles. 2 torpedo tubes just forward of where it says D34. The white cones alongside the funnel, these are the Vulcan Phalanx cannons, multi-barreled anti-missile guns. The Merlin helicopter at the after end. For their size, they are the heaviest armed naval ships in the world. Now, we were originally going to have 12 of them, and then the previous government first of all cut it down to 10 and then down to 6. But the government we've got there made sure we've got 6, but what's going on around the world, good job they have. Powered by Rolls-Royce WR21 gas turbines, that gives the ship top speed in excess of 30 knots. Right, we're going to make our way around into the tidal basin now. You picked a good day for a harbour cruise, folks, because we only have 6 of those Daring class destroyers. You're going to get good views of 3 of them, but in actual fact, there's 5 in the port, but you won't. A couple of them you won't see. They're inside the inner basins. You can see the superstructures of 2 more coming up. You can see the superstructures of Type 23 warships too. Take for harbour cruise today, folks. That's HMS Daring itself. That's the first of class. HMS Daring over on the right there. Now those white cones alongside the funnel, the Vulcan Phalanx cannons, they're multi-barreled anti-missile guns. Then in the Falklands crisis, which was 34 years ago now, we lost several ships. Ships were damaged by missiles and planes. And the Vulcan Phalanx cannons have been designed to shoot down missiles and planes, firing 20mm titanium tipped shells. Under that white cone is a very fast scanning radar. The gun can fire 3,500 rounds a minute. It puts up a wall of steel to protect the ship against missiles and planes. HMS Daring on the right, good view of Daring there, look. The next one we're coming up to Another Derry class destroyer, D-35. Well, there's a clue as to the name of this one, like what it's got painted on the bow. That looks like a dragon, so this must be HMS Dragon. Gun forward is linked through the ship's radar. Got Ollie and Dave on the top deck. They're walking around with some what they got? Teas, coffees, ice cold drinks. Ice cold drinks. What's an ice cold drink? Lemonade, water. If you like a pint of beer, don't be afraid to ask, folks. We've got everything down in the bar. They'll be very pleased to go back down so you don't miss anything. And there's a lot of ships coming up. They're going to walk right around the vessel. Dave and Ollie on the drink front. Get overheated. Okay, for them. Right, as we make our way around, coming up on the right hand side, we have 4 Duke class Type 23 warships. The Duke class ship, very much the backbone of the naval fleet. Now we have 13 of them. The first one, F234, is HMS Iron Duke. This is the Iron Duke, 4,100 tons, with a crew of 181 officers and men. A Mark 9 4.5-inch gun forwards. In that square box, 24 vertically launched Seawolf missiles. Just forward of the bridge, there's some U-shaped hangars. This is where the McDonnell Douglas Harpoon missiles are fired from. Just under the bridge, wing over to where it says 234, she's usually got 4 torpedo tubes. They're not there at the present time. 2 Lynx Mark 8 helicopters at the after end. And the ships are powered by Rolls-Royce spy engines. Gives them a top speed in excess of 30 knots. They're very much the backbone of the naval fleet. F-78 coming up, that's the Kent, and she's on the outside of the Richmond. And looking at the next one, oh, that's the St Albans. These ships have been very busy in recent times, and the St Albans returned just a couple of weeks ago from the Gulf, where it's been for the last 9 months. And I must just tell you, 5 years ago we had over 200 incidents of pirates attacking ships, and they captured some of the ships down in the Gulf. We dispatched some of our Duke class ships down there, and this last year only 6 incidents have been recorded. So if you're Captain Jack Sparrow and you think you're going to capture a ship down in the Gulf, and you see one of these ships coming, well, that's the last ship you want to see. The 8 tubes forward of the bridge, the McDonnell Douglas Harpoon missiles on the Richmond. That's the Navy's equivalent of a cruise missile. They program into it where it's going, and it keeps following you till it catches up with you. 2 torpedo tubes under the bridge there, look, there's 2 each side. These are the latest Stingray torpedo, that's a homing torpedo. They program into it where it's going, and it keeps following you till it catches up with you. Now as we come about just inside the quay wall, the R06, you can see this is the aircraft carrier Illustrious. HMS Illustrious had 2 sister ships, the Ark Royal and the Invincible. Now they both went to the scrapyard a couple of years ago. And the Illustrious faced a bit of an uncertain future, not sure what's going to happen to her. At 20,000 tons with a crew of 1,200 officers and men, she will carry 10 Sea Harrier vertical takeoff planes and 9 Sea King helicopters. Now she's laid by at the present time inside the quay wall, pending the arrival of the 2 new aircraft carriers. We have 2 new aircraft carriers under construction up in Rosyth, called the Prince of Wales and the Queen Elizabeth. They're 3 times the size of the Illustrious. Wow, imagine. The name Prince of Wales and Queen Elizabeth are more traditional names than modern monarchy. There's been several ships of those names through the years. Now as we come about on the right hand side, you can see quite a large ship in the commercial port there, the Colombian Star. This is a banana boat. Those brown sheds are banana warehouses. Once every 3 days a banana boat arrives in Portsmouth. You because 88% of bananas coming into the UK come in through Portsmouth's commercial port. If you like bananas, the chances are they would have been imported in through ports. If the banana boat doesn't arrive, we run out of bananas in the UK. Have you any idea how many we eat every 3 days? It's 49 million. That's a lot of banana. Right, we turn around in the international port. Well, lucky today, so we don't usually get up this far. There's usually ferries off the berth here. There's 5 berths from the international port.
Any cold drinks?
Catch a ferry to many destinations, including Conville, Malsham, Sherbert, the Hall, and the Channel Islands. As we make our way around, D23 coming up on the right, this is HMS Bristol. HMS Bristol is the only Type 82 destroyer that was ever built. Now there was 3 on the drawing board, but once they built the Bristol, they found she was too heavy, uneconomic to operate. They kept her in service, but they cancelled the order for the other 2, which was on the drawing board. HMS Bristol saw sterling service for 16 years, escorting aircraft carriers. That's what her job was. She even saw service down in the Falklands crisis in 1982. She then returned to Portsmouth. She's permanently moored where you can see her on the right. Her engines have been removed. The engine room is turned into classrooms, and the rest of the ship is used for training and accommodation by the very tough Royal Naval Training School of HMS Excellent, which is based on Whale Island on the right. That's those grey buildings there. That's also the home of the Commander-in-Chief, Royal Naval Home Command. That's where he lives. Staying on the right, you can see a series of chalk pits up on the downs there. See the chalk pits there? See the chalk pits? Right, well they're totally irrelevant, the commentary, and I'm just checking you're still listening to me. That's fallen asleep. Most people have nodded off by now. Right, pay attention to the right of the chalk pits, up on top of the downs. You can see the superstructure of a Type 45 destroyer. Can you see it there? They haven't had a navigational error and parked the ship up on the downs. That's where they trained the crew. They trained the crew to operate the new Type 45s up on top of Portsmouth Hill. You can see the similarity between that and the Dragon over on the left. Coming down to the left of the chalk pit, built by the Romans, later rebuilt by the Normans. Between us and the top of the harbour, over 16 square miles of mud flats, many only just underneath the surface. A little bit further off the ships now, we'll make our way up towards the Gosport side of the harbour. Don't forget, you like tea, coffee, something to eat with crisps and chocolate bars and maple tarts, Eccles cakes, cheeselets, you name it, we've got it down in the bar there. If you like something to eat, the bar's open in the lower saloon, the group of breathing to you, don't hesitate to ask. Further off the ship so you can get them all in your cameras. The Dragon just coming up on the left, I must just tell you. A couple of years ago she was down in Australia celebrating the birth of the Australian Navy, and at that time there was a hurricane in the Philippines. The Dragon went up to assist with the rescue effort. She was there for several weeks. By the time she got back to Portsmouth, she'd steamed 32,000 miles. Completely boring to do factory re-engine. Dragon over on the left there. Now back in service. the Victory again over on the left. That was Lord Nelson's flagship at the Battle of Trafalgar, and he lost his life on the decks of Victory on October the 21st, 1805. During the Battle of Trafalgar, the ship had a surgeon. The surgeon's name was William Beatty. William Beatty, in a 4-hour period, he performed 104 amputations. That was arms, fingers, legs, on the 900 crew. 900 crew on the ship. Of course, in those days, there was no anaesthetic, so you could chop off your arm, your finger, or your leg, flap the skin over the top in a barrel of tar, and then do the next one, swivel the decks off. It was all pretty brutal. But they say of the 104 amputations, only 4 of the sailors died. It's quite unbelievable, but that's what they say. The oil fuel jetty on the right, where the Navy draws most of its fuel and oil supplies from, all kept in storage containers on the shore side at Gosport. And the town of Gosport on the right, the city of Portsmouth over on the left. Both perform very important roles in keeping the Navy up and running. Now, Portsmouth has been a naval base for over 700 years. Before then, it was known the Romans had a fleet stationed here. When the Romans left, the Danes took over, and even though the next 700 years were bustling days of sea power, we didn't hear much of the ports until the 12th century, by which time there was a considerable fleet in residence. Henry VIII fortified the sea walls in Portsmouth and gave himself the title of founder of the Royal Navy. Richard I sailed for the Crusades from the naval base of Portsmouth, and Henry V sailed for the Battle of Agincourt from the naval dockyard. Up on the right hand side is Hasler Creek. This is the former submarine base here in Gosport. Most submarines are now kept at Fast Lane or Devonport. The top of Hasler Creek is a white square tower filled to the brim with water. Once every 3 years, every submariner has to go into the bottom and make a controlled descent through to the surface. Failure to do this, and you're automatically taken off the submarine. That's from the captain down to the lowest rating. Now as we come about on the right hand side, you can see Portsmouth Harbour entrance. The harbour entrance is only 200 metres wide, and every ship that I've seen on the cruise today has to make their way through this narrow entrance to gain access to the sea. Either side of the harbour entrance is a round tower, like most of the fortifications built by Henry VIII. And what he used to do, or get his men to do, was tow a chain across the harbour, and that would effectively close off the harbour against invasion from the sea. Remnants of this chain can still be seen shoreside in Gosport on the right. And there's the Isle of Wight over on the right there. About 5 miles away from us with a population of 165,000 people. 55 miles around by road. And as we come about, there's Spice Island on our right. You see the Still West pub and the Spice Island Inn. Spice Island, a couple of 100 years ago, if you're a young man looking for excitement, this was the place to go. Full of pubs and clubs and ladies of ill repute. That's how they're wearing. So you could go on Spice Island, enjoy yourself. The only thing was, you stood a very good chance of getting press gang. You find yourself as a volunteer on Wall residential area. Right, we're now heading back to Gunwharf Quays. That's where one or two of you will be leaving us. Now, if you've got on in the historic dockyard and wish to go back to the dockyard, just sit tight because that'll be the second stop. Enjoy the city. Gunwharf, this is where you will be leaving us. Anyone that got on in the dockyard that wishes to get off at Gunwharf, they can do so, but you won't be able to get back on the ship to get back to the dockyard because of security. So if you wish to go back to the dockyard, then just sit tight because that'll be the second stop. If you are leaving us, well, thanks for travelling with us, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the harbour tour this morning. Hope you learned a little bit about the Royal Navy past and present. Enjoy the rest of your day here at Gunwharf with its 95 factory outlets, restaurants and clubs. When we come alongside, I'll ask you to remain seated until we're tied up tight and we have the gangway of the